So without further ado, let's move to the next slide and ask Karim to present the Citizens Decide campaign, where Participate was a component of.
Thank you very much, Ronald, for the introductions. And thanks everyone for making time to be with us this afternoon. So quickly, as we don't have too much time, I'll just give you the brief background of this whole campaign. So elections in Ghana are a big deal, especially when it comes to election campaigning. And our observation over the years is that politicians always involve the youth, not on productive basis, but just to use them as rabble rousers and all that. But we have also, over the time, as Oxfam, engaged policymakers in the lead up to previous elections. But this year, we took particular interest, given the fact that the demographics of Ghana is changing, and the youth percentage, the proportion of youth of our population is quite high. We can share some figures later. But it's quite significant, and they form the bulk of voters in this country. The programs that we implement in Ghana are about 98% campaign and influencing. And so we thought of consolidating all of them, those that are on economic justice, that is focusing on agric and smallholder farmers' interests, land rights and women rights issues. There are those that concern extractive resource governance, oil, gas, mining, and petroleum revenues issues. There are those that covers active citizenship, issues around citizens' involvement in deciding how public finances are managed in the national budget and how it is translated into public welfare. Then we have those that concern health care delivery, improving maternal health care and reducing infant mortality. So these are a number of things that we do in different programmatic themes, but we thought of consolidating it into one national program so that we speak with one voice and push one common agenda. And so we came out with a campaign, Citizens Decide, with a hashtag Voices and Thumbs. Voices in the sense that we want people to speak out, share their opinion, but not stop there. After influencing the politicians, we should also go ahead with our civic responsibility of actually exercising our franchise by voting. So that's how come. So you will see, as the slide shows, this draws from activities from various partners and various advocacy initiatives from Ghana office. And the ultimate goal was to ensure that we have progressive revenue generation and efficient use so that they will serve the areas that we are interested in, creating jobs, reducing inequality in education, health, smallholder agriculture, and all that. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, so this is Citizens Decide. I just want to take you quickly through the different facets. Then we will zero in on citizens, what they call participate. That Ruddy will take you. Let's please. So one of the components for accountability matters. Accountability matters focus mainly on public finance and how issues of management are being reported through the Auditor General of Ghana. Auditor General is the supreme audit institution of Ghana. So it audits the accounts of government from the various departments, ministries, and agencies every year. And it presents this budget, this report to a committee in Parliament, the Public Accounts Committee. Now, this report contains findings of how public resources have been managed, and usually it comes out with a lot of, corrupt practices, money that has gone missing, and some individuals are cited, institutions are cited. But over the years, no action has been taken on it in terms of prosecuting people or retrieving money. So we thought this would be a good campaign issue for those who manage public resources to be more efficient in how they manage this. And we produced a report out of this as part of the campaign, what we call the Fiscal Recklessness Index, rating each of the public institutions as to which one is wasting our money most and making a case for them to be put in check. That report is there. We can share it with those who are interested. Can we go to the next? Hello? The next, no, when the person clicks, it will bring the next component.
Yes, hold on a second.
All right.
We're trying to change slide here. It's kind of slow response right now.
Oh. Great. So this, good. So, I mean, you can display all the whilst I explain. The next one, so I'm going clockwise. EMP is Exploration and Production. That is Petroleum Exploration and Production Bill. This bill has been pending in Parliament for a number of years, about 6 years. You know, Ghana discovered oil in 2007, and good resource governance will require that we would have put in place a law that will govern how we manage that resources efficiently in terms of how we award contracts, how we manage contracts, and how we manage the resources that come. I think Ghana was most interested in how we manage the revenues. So we passed a law to regulate the use of the revenues, but not how we award the contract. So a lot of underhand dealings have gone on. So this campaign was actually to push for the passage of a law that will regulate the governance of the petroleum sector. And our partner, Africa Center for Energy Policy, you see ACEP, ASEP, they were the ones who championed that. Good to say that as part of the campaign, we got that law to be passed last year. The next one is FISH. The FISH stands for Fisheries Inclusive and Social Harmony. We have partners that we work with along the coastal region of Ghana, in the western region. A number of local government areas there where resources are being exploited, particularly our current petroleum production is based in those areas. But the main livelihood there is based on fishing, both for men and women. The men do the fishing, they go to sea, and the women do smoking of the fish and selling. But this livelihood is seriously being affected by these extractive activities. So we also launch a campaign on how the petroleum industry can coexist with the primary industry that the people have relied on over the years in terms of securing their livelihood and also reducing the environmental effects. And how do we get citizens' voices reflected? Our partner, Friends of the Nation, that is based in western coast of Ghana, championed that campaign. Then, of course, we have Participate, which I'm not going to talk about. Ruddy will do that. The other one in green with the yellow border, PFM and RTI. PFM stands for Public Finance Management, and RTI is Right to Information. You'll be surprised to know that even though Ghana is being touted as a democratic country in Africa, we don't have a right to information law. So a lot of the times when you want information that you are entitled to, you need to know somebody somewhere in government to be able to get it. Yeah. So we have been pushing for the passage of this law. It has been pending before Parliament for about 12 years now. So we also made part of the campaign. The public finance issues, as I've mentioned earlier, is broader. It goes beyond just the budget. It talks about issues around tax. Our tax performance, Ghana tax performance is one of the lowest because people who are supposed to pay tax have a way of evading it. It's very easy to evade tax in Ghana. And there are a lot of exemptions. So all these were part of the issues that we were pushing for government to sanitize the public finance environment, as well as pass the Right to Information Bill. Luckily enough, the Public Finance Management Law was passed also during the period of the campaign. It was managed by the civil society platform. We put together a number of civil society platforms that are doing work around public issues, public finance issues, accountability issues, who push for this agenda. Then the last one was a citizen manifesto. So as I said, election campaigns are big deals in Ghana. And we organize big rallies, that's political parties, and every party comes out with their own manifesto. But we said, if citizens were to be in charge, to decide what their priorities are in the lead up to elections, what will be their priorities? So we launched this initiative that took us around the country to gather opinions of people from the markets, in their farms, in schools, to tell us what are their topmost priorities. And we summarize all that into a citizens manifesto. There are issues around education, health, energy, all put together in this manifesto. And we also took components from the different initiatives that we are mentioning here to form part of that, which we submitted to the political parties that were vying for power. And interesting enough, we saw, I mean, the good thing was that by the time we did ours, most of the parties have not produced their manifestos. So it ended up influencing the kind of things that they captured in their own manifestos as priorities. And for that, I mean, we had a lot of wins on that. Now we are using the party that won the election, that is currently in government. The commitment they made in their manifesto, we are using it as a tool to hold them accountable. And that is part of the follow-up actions that we'll be talking about at the tail end of this presentation. So this sort of summarizes the number of things that we did under Citizens Decide. We are going to talk about Participate, which Ruddy will tell you how it came about, how we collaborated how they collaborated with Oxfam, and how what tools they used to engage the youth, why they use those tools, what worked, what didn't work, and all that. So if we can go to the next slide, Ruddy will take us through that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karim, for this very nice and very holistic overview now of all the activities that have happened in Ghana by Oxfam as part of your efforts to influence the campaigns that happened there. Very interesting to see also the very multitude of elements and how they also then have been brought together in one consolidated way. No doubt increasing the power actually of these messages, though I can also imagine some challenges or the lessons can come from that, but perhaps we can, looking at time, perhaps we can include that in the discussion at the very end.
We will do that.
Fantastic. That is so great.